Well, a bunch of people are asking me about fertilizing blackberries. What I do at certain stages of the blackberry growth and why I do it that way. And I've got several different methods that I use, and you can use any of these. Specifically, I'll be talking about containers, but this also works with blackberries that are in the ground if you have blackberries in the ground. So let me show you what I do, the ways I do it, the different ways, methods I use, and hey, you can do it too. Need to do it pretty doggone quick. So the blackberries in the blue containers have been leafing out for a couple of weeks, and I did this procedure, this fertilization procedure with them when they first started showing some growth, some green growth. So I'm going to do that on these Ponca blackberries that are just beginning right now to show some growth. So let me show you what I'm doing and the different ways that I could do this. So first of all, this is what I'm using. It's Haas's 20-20-20 complete fertilizer. I like it much better than the Miracle Grow, and there's several ways that I can do it. One of the ways is to just go down over here, and I've showed you this in another video. Come over here and just put it down the hole, and I'd put probably 2 tablespoons, something like that, down the hole, and then water it in real good. You don't want to just a big clump down there on the bottom. So I would put my water hose down there after I put the fertilizer in there and let the water rush in there and mix it up all down in there so it will feed up through the plant. But in this case, instead of doing that, I'm just going to get me about 2 tablespoons. That spoon is a Miracle Grow spoon, and the spoon itself is 1.5 tablespoons. So I've got about 2 there, maybe more than that, because I'm definitely rounded. So I'll take about 2 to 3 tablespoons of this 20-20-20, and I'll just scatter it on there. We'll say 2, and that'll be 3 probably. And I'll scatter it on there. Now I have got these mulched with a little bit of few wood chips. So what I would normally do is just water on top really well, maybe 15-20 seconds per tub, and that will be almost enough to fill up the tub. And I've waited a few days. It's a little bit dry. I've waited a few days to water because I knew I was going to fertilize. Because you don't want that fertilizer. You just put some expensive fertilizer in there. You don't want it running out that weep hole on the bottom, on the backside. So what I'll do now is water it in just a little bit, and the reason I'm just going to go just a few seconds just to get it through the mulch and to get it down into the soil is I've got some rain coming tonight. They say 1 inch to maybe 1.5 inches of rain. So because these buckets aren't covered, they do get rain coming in. So I don't want to water it so much that I fill up my container and get it right at the weep hole, get the water up to the weep hole, because we get that rain tonight, it's going to wash some of that fertilizer out. That fertilizer is going to go through and probably down into the bottom to the reservoir, continue feeding. And I don't want to do that because with the rain coming, it could definitely come up high enough to get out of with the weep hole, and therefore I'd lose the fertilizer. Don't want to do that. So let me get the watering wand and show you how I water this in. Okay, so I've got my hose here. By the way, that is a great watering wand. I got that at Haas. It's a DRAMM, and it's just really gentle, and I really like to use it. Again, I could water down the hole. If I fertilize down the hole, I would water down the hole, but now that I've fertilized on top, I'll just do this. Now, if you don't have 20-20-20, if you don't have the water soluble, then you can use like some 13-13. What I would do, and what I might do in about a month or so, is come in here with some 13-13 and just dig out a little place over here and put maybe a tablespoon there, a tablespoon there, and a tablespoon over there. Maybe 3 places in this thing. Give it about 3 tablespoons of 13-13, 888, 1010, whatever you have. But the water soluble 20-20-20 is just so hard It's just hard to burn a plant with that. So that's one reason I really like to use it. Another way I would do it would be to run it through my drip irrigation system. Now, if this is just a half-inch pipe, what they call main line, and I've got an emitter. I don't know whether you can see that red emitter there or not, but I've got an emitter at every pot. These emitters are 2-gallon emitters. So I know the pot's gonna get 2 gallons for every hour I leave it on. Tonight, if we get a rain, it may wash some out because I should have done it a day or two ago. So the 4 methods that I just showed you about fertilizing that I would do would be down the hole with the water soluble, sprinkling it out on top, water soluble, watering it in, or using granular, scratch around in there and find you 3 places where you can get it down an inch or so, and then cover back over with dirt. You always want to try to cover your fertilizer up if you can, and or through the drip irrigation. Now Haas makes an injection system, fertilizer injector, that's got the tank and everything on it. It's a little pricey, works great, I've got one, but they also make what's called just a brass siphon hose, and you just hook it up to your hose and you put a 1/4-inch piece of tubing on it, drape it down in a bucket, and you can use a 5-gallon bucket or something like that as your fertilizer tank. So that's a good way to do it too. It's real, it's much cheaper than that fertilizer injector. So that's the way to do it. Either inject the fertilizer through a drip irrigation system, and if you don't have a drip irrigation system, you really should. They are worth their weight in gold, in my opinion. Or just down the tube, sprinkle it around the water soluble or the granular 13 and then water it in real good. So when they start blooming, I might come through here again, which will be a couple of weeks from now, with just a little bit more, the same amount, because again, that water soluble is just hard to burn a plant with that. So I'd come in here and do that with the water soluble. I wouldn't do that, I don't think, with 13 because you could burn the plant. Or even a 10-20-10. Again, if it's blooming, you want that middle number to be high. Now 20-20-20, the middle number is high. And also when you start getting your new canes, your primocanes come up, which these will start in the next 2 or 3 weeks probably, start seeing some primocanes popping up. You want that green growth, you want that cane growth, and that's where your nitrogen will come in. I've already got some new canes on my Primark Freedoms, so probably in the next week or so, I'm going to hit it with either the 13 or some more of this 20-20-20. Typically, most people fertilize right before they bloom, when you have some green growth and they're beginning to bloom, or just before they bloom, and after the season. So I continue my fertilization program on the primocanes even into the summer after it's already produced fruit, because the primocanes will continue to produce fruit. So hope that makes sense. If you've got poncas, that's not a primocane, it's a fluorocane. They're going to put out berries, and then these canes are going to die. These old canes, for last year's canes, they're going to die. And then, but you'll have new canes coming up from the bottom, and that's where your berries will be next year, because this is a fluorocane, not a primocane. After they've produced and they're starting to put up new canes, I will come in here with that 20-20-20 again, or with some granular, and scratch it in, water it in, and then it'll be good for, should be good for the year. Especially if I'm using 20-20-20, I'm not afraid I'm going to burn it, so I'll come in here probably in midsummer and do it again. Primocanes, I do maybe every month or so, because they're continually putting out berries. We're going to do the rest of this row, and then we've got them fertilized. Hope that made sense. Hope you'll try the water-soluble fertilizer. Again, I like the NPK rating, the ratios of this 20-20-20. It's just balanced. It's 20% nitrogen, 20% phosphorus, and 20% potassium, and I just think that's what these things need. So I'll do the rest of these plants with about 3 tablespoons. And then the rain tonight's going to wash it way down deep, and this green growth should just take off and grow crazy. All right. Hope I made sense. We're gone.